We are at the World Ultimate Club Championships outside of Cincinnati. First time in 16 years Worlds have been on U.S. soil, and it's quarterfinal Thursday, and this is a matchup that everyone has been looking forward to. Colony from Australia. They finished fourth at Worlds 4 years ago. USA's Ring of Fire, their first time at World Club Championships this millennium. They last competed in Worlds 99, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They both look great throughout the week, and one of these teams, Ian Toner, will head on to the semifinals. One of them will play for fifth place. Evan and Ian, thrilled to be back with you. What are your primary thoughts heading into this matchup of two heavyweight clubs that both believe they can win this tournament on Saturday?
Well, I think an underrated difference that hasn't been talked about quite a lot in the Ultimate media coming into this game is the difference in leadership between these two squads. The Ring of Fire coaching staff is accomplished, having guided tons of local talent in its area to collegiate championships. They have experience at the top levels of the U.S. club division. Colony, their leadership has great minds, but they don't have a dedicated coach that will be removed from the playing field. Tom Tullett and Mark Evans, two key players sharing those coaching responsibilities. So I think Ring's going to have the advantage in their ability to make strategic adjustments and rely on those experienced, neutral third-party observers to make the tweaks that they need to clamp down when the pressure is greatest.
A Ring of Fire advanced with an easy round of 16 win. They clobbered Colombia's Euphoria 15-6. Colony with nearly as easy a win over their oceanic rivals from New Zealand, Wildcats 15-7. Colony's only loss of the tournament, 15-13 against GOAT on Tuesday. Ring is still perfect, unbeaten on the fields in Ohio.
And Evan, you were just in the booth for the GOAT Nomadic Tribe quarterfinal, and I was on the sidelines taking that game in. You compare the performance of the GOAT O-line between their Colony matchup and their Nomadic Tribe matchup, and you know, you could say that it's got something to do with the matchup and the defenses that they were facing in those games, but GOAT's O-line looked far more human against the Japanese squad than they did against Colony.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that there's a multitude of factors that go into that. Nomadic Tribe's defense, I think Colony's defense has not been great at generating breaks. And that could be one of the key storylines in this game. Can the Ring O-line late out there on defense, along with Justin Allen, Saul Yannick, Noah Saul, Shane Cisco, Alan Laviolette, and Hunter Taylor. And meanwhile, this Colony offense with Tom Tullett, Jimmy Mikkel, Chris Kocher, Alex Shepard, Mark Evans, Aber Garfield, and Pete Ely. This is Ely with Cisco on the mark. Evans chased by Allen. It's Freystadter who has the task of Mikkel on the opening point. Handicap that matchup for me.
I think Mikkel's got the advantage in the backfield. He's a little more agile than Freystadter may be, but if there's a 50-50 ball, it's hard to not give Misha the edge.
Well, already a little chatter between two great American players.
Former USA under-23 teammates as well.
Freystadter 6'7". Mikkel at 6'3". Around the foot extended. Mikkel and Kocher. It's Laviolette on Kocher. Laviolette, one of the newer players for Ring, just moved to Raleigh recently and has quickly assumed a lot of responsibility on this Ring squad. And Mikkel was stumbling. Did he make a call in the process?
I think he's claiming that Misha Freestadter had a forearm in his chest before he went to make that cut, and that caused him to fall to the ground. I've been seeing a lot of pushing and shoving back and forth at the front of the stack and the dump set in just this first point already. Not seeing anything there. I don't know if we can cue that replay up just a few seconds earlier. And once again, for those of you who may be tuning in for one of the first times this week, we've got game advisors helping players resolve their disputes. None of their calls or perspectives are binding or active. The players can only defer to them for perspective and explanation of the rules.
So they contested the call. Mikkel catches the swing from Kocher. This is Evans, a guy who's pretty familiar with the ring program, you might say. Played at UNC Wilmington, has worn the Johnny Cash jersey in the past. Through the hands of Ely in the end zone, a mistake that Colony cannot afford to make in a game like this.
Well, Ely's been a surefire goal scorer for this Colony offensive line. 20 goals throughout the tournament coming into this game. Uncharacteristic drop there.
Noah Saul picks up and throws it away off the hands of Laviolette. And if there was one issue that spectators have had with Ring in terms of their championship pedigree and acumen, it has been their defense's inability to take care of the disc and convert after a turn. Mikkel to Kocher, and Matt Bode, the peacemaker, helping to usher Misha Freestadter away from further confrontation with Jimmy Mikkel.
Well, this is one of Jimmy's favorite throws in short spaces. The quick little shoulder shimmy to the step around break flick. That release point is so far back. Even the 6'7" Freestadter has difficulty preventing that.
Conversation I've had with Ashlyn Joy in the past, one of the best American handlers in the world. How these great throwers get off those break flicks without pivoting is contrary to how a lot of people learn how to play Ultimate. But the Joy shimmy has become a household thing, and Mikkel with a little shimmy there, bending Freestadter one way, leaning him one way, and then quickly and authoritatively taking advantage.
Well, a lot of defenders in the U.S. club game know the Jimmy shimmy, and they're frequently, I've been on the sidelines, having been his teammate for several years, with opposing defenses and supporting sidelines yelling, "No shimmy, no shimmy, don't fall for it."
Ring on offense for the first time with the superstar Jonathan Nethercutt. Bob Lou finds Jonathan Goose Helton. Downfield, it's Jack Williams, who might, by Saturday, be one of the heroes of this tournament for Ring of Fire. Matt Gusho-Hannes clipped but continued to play on. There's Henry Fisher, tall, lanky cutter out of Carleton, who's leading Ring in goals. The leading goal scorers for Ring in terms of goals and assists combined, Jack Williams, who you would expect, and Matt Gusho-Hannes, who you might not expect. They each have 17 scores so far in the tournament. Nethercutt, Helton, and Fisher each with 14 combined scores, goals and assists collectively. Nethercutt to Gusho-Hannes, his prodigy. And there's Bob Lou in the end zone from Jack Williams. smooth ring offense to start.
Yeah, great patience, not taking any unnecessary shots. Content to dump, swing, reset, break the mark until the high percentage look opened up. And Gusho Hannes seems to be settling right into this ring offensive unit. He's got so many reps as an offensive linchpin for the Carolina Darkside offense, but previously with ring, he'd assumed more D-line handler responsibilities.
Bob Lou dealing with an injury in the lead up to Worlds, but looking strong. Lou, a Division III national champion at Las Positas College, and then a mixed club champion in 2010 with the Polar Bears. So there's Eric Taylor with the disc from Durham, one of the Carlton quartet that has joined this Ring of Fire team. Dylan Lanier, Eric Taylor, Saul Yannick, and Henry Fisher. Just giving this team really youth and speed. And obviously they have great disc skills as well. What in your mind do those four guys give ring that maybe they didn't have otherwise?
Well, I think you got to go player by player in order to assess their impact. And the man who just pulled the disc, Eric Taylor, is probably one of the more underrated additions to me. Obviously, he's played with Ring of Fire before, but he's just such a consistent D-line presence. He can take tough downfield matchups. He can pull. He's wise after the turnover. It's not that often you can get a reliable D-line contributor at such a young age.
Mikkel's throw held onto by Kocher, who slices it downfield for Evans. Evans, bold throw. It's going to hang in the air, and it wasn't intended for the 36 shirt Paul Denyer, but he hauls it in and quickly distributes for Ely. And there's a turnover-free hold despite a little wobble from Colony.
Yeah, I think Ring's defense has to be happy with that point, right? If they've done any scouting, they know that Colony wants to start their offense with some simple, aggressive vert stack plays that isolate Mikkel, isolate Evans, isolate Kocher. But that junk look, those sagging, the help in the lanes really frustrated those first looks. And to be honest, you forced one tough grab for Kocher, and you forced a 50-50 Scuba crossfield grab from Denyer. If I'm the Ring defense, that's exactly the type of pressure I want early in this game.
Ely has scored a lot of goals for this Colony team. 29-year-old teacher and engineer, been playing for 11 years. Highlight of his career was winning bronze at WUGC, beating Canada in that third place game. Australia has had more bronze opportunities than gold. In order to remain in the medal hunt, this is a must-win game. Dylan Lanier and Liam Searles-Bowes out there on offense for Ring of Fire. Searles-Bowes just finished his freshman year at North Carolina. Lanier, who grew up on the UNC campus, helped Carleton to a title in 2017. Helton, Williams, Nethercutt all staying out there near the sideline. Great footwork by Nethercutt. Deep shot goes up, looking for Fisher. Gavin Moore can't have a play on the disc. And Fisher quickly connects with his college teammate Lanier.
Well, when in doubt or when in trouble, it's great to have John Nethercutt behind the disc on your own goal line and Henry Fisher tearing deep. The most powerful thrower in the entire division and a top 10 deep threat in the division as well. A sigh of relief there for that Ring offense after some risky swings back and forth in their end zone.
Yeah, Fisher has been a tremendous weapon for the Ring offense this week. And Dylan Lanier in the end zone. Now, 4 years ago, there was an article on UltiWorld about this. Jimmy Mikkel, camp counselor Jimmy Mikkel, interviewed young high school ultimate standout, camp standout Dylan Lanier at Tina Booth's Nutsy camp. And they had this friendly back and forth. Jimmy was trying to convince him to come visit Boulder, check out the University of Colorado. And I mean, Jimmy that day said, Dylan, you're going to be one of the future faces of the game. And here they are going head to head as peers in the quarterfinals of a world championship. Not sure at the time they would have expected Mikkel to be representing Australia, but that's a different conversation.
And you see this vertical stack initiation play here. It's one that Johnny Bravo has actually run for years. It's called a broken E, with the front of the stack tearing deep up the break side and turning back around.
Alex Shepard throws it away. Noah Saul to Saul Yannick. Allen near the sidelines. Throws it away. Chulet picks up. Played for Johnny Bravo the last couple of years on the USAU tour. This is Denyer with his quirky facial hair. And then Mikkel overshoots Evans. After 3 straight turnover-free points, 3 total turnovers so far on this 5th point of the game.
And to be honest, those turnovers weren't forced, right?
No.
Allen missed an open swing. Mikkel missed an open continuation. Surprised to see these mistakes in this setting.
Jacob Fairfax lays it off for Saul. And then Matt Bode drops the disc. He's playing injured. Deep shot goes for Chulet, and he's got it. And Colony fortunate to hold. Matt Bode fractured his left scaphoid on June 16th. He had surgery 10 days later. And here we are on July 19th. Bode playing through that cast. He's been a contributor, but a mistake there opens the door for a fortunate Colony hold. 3-2 on serve in the men's quarter.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Raleigh Ring of Fire has had 3 opportunities to break, and Mike DeNardis' team is 0 for 3. Colony leading 3-2. This game is still on serve in the opening half. Rob Andrews launches the pull. Matsuka, Gusho Hannes, Terrence Mitchell, Goose Helton, Bob Lou, Jonathan Nethercutt, Jack Williams, the O-line for Ring. Program that has been around since 1989. This year they'll be trying to make it 20 straight seasons qualifying for USAU Club Nationals. And yet they've been competitive for so long and are still looking for that first marquee championship. They once lost in the finals. They've lost in the semis of nationals several times in recent years. Nethercutt shooting it for Mitchell. He's got 3 defenders trailing. The disc is floating, and Mitchell skied above them all and then lost it on the way down.
And I think he did get fouled on the way down.
And he's going to get credit for the goal. Terrence Mitchell, Go Gadget legs. A human pogo stick, saving Nethercutt on the floaty huck.
Well, I don't think Nethercutt realized that Latamatos was spying off the deep end of the side stack, ready to peel off and help with this deep cut. And had he known Latamatos was peeling off, I think he would have holstered that decision.
Holy cow. We've seen this athleticism from Mitchell before. He's just 22. He'll be 23 in August. He's made grabs in junior worlds that have been spectacular. Of course, he was victimized by the great Darren Wu on a universe point game at junior worlds as well. He's, no pun intended, been through the ringer. And still so young, but quite experienced. Gets credit for the goal to tie it at 3. Will that throw and how it evolved change Nethercutt's mindset going forward, do you think?
I don't think he's going to be afraid to shoot deep in this game. I think he's just going to make sure he's taking an extra look at the back of the side stack before he releases it to see if he's got help defenders clouding his lanes.
Evans chased by Saul. Former teammates, since Evans just fires it to nobody. Colony is looking incredibly shaky, Ian.
I'm not sure if he thought Pete Ely was streaking deep from the middle or back of that stack, but just a clear miscommunication.
At 3-all, Ring has its 4th break opportunity. Elijah Long, the rising senior at University of North Carolina, key handler to this year's championship team. David Richardson, former college tennis player. A defensive threat, now Laviolette sending it deep. Saul Yannick, usually a handler, going long and rises up. Ring breaks on the back of Yannick, and he spikes his cleat. Something you don't see every day.
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen before, but credit to Yannick for the excellent body positioning. This throw certainly hanging a lot more than Laviolette would have liked. We haven't talked about the wind conditions yet. Again, something we've noticed all week. On these showcase fields, more often than not, the throwers are dealing with crosswinds. However, all of the pool play and power pool games that they've been playing, the fields are oriented in a perpendicular manner to the showcase fields, so they're traditionally playing with upwind, downwind conditions. I'm not sure if these huckers just need some time to get used to it.
Big play for Yannick.
Well, here's a story for you, Evan. Back when I played on Ring of Fire, one of the favorite end-of-season traditions that we had was a spike contest at the last practice before Nationals.
This is going to be good.
And one of the first times I participated in this, we were practicing at a local high school football field, and no one was around, so I wanted my spike to involve my car. And we drove the car out onto the field, and I had someone throw me a score in the end zone while I was catching it out the sunroof of my car.
And what'd you do?
It was more, the actual show and theatrics of getting the car out there onto the pitch without everyone else noticing.
J.D. Hastings fouled Tom Chulit.
Turned the volume up really loud as soon as I scored.
What was on the stereo at the moment? Do you remember? Oh, tremendous layout D near the goal line. That's Alan Laviolette for Ring of Fire, making his presence felt in his first tournament as a member of the Ring program. Hastings resets. Long around for Laviolette, and he calls timeout. You move to a new city, you join a team, and you get layout Ds in the quarterfinals of Worlds. It's a great way to make friends.
I think everyone's known the skill that Laviolette has had, as he's been a major fixture in the Southeast club scene for years, but just great anticipation out there in the lane for a second and then clamping down as the swing goes up and denying Denyer.
Seattle product, grew up in the Pacific Northwest, went to Western Washington University, spent a handful of years in Atlanta, and now moving up to Raleigh. And he talked about his great respect for the ring coaching staff, Mike Denardis and David Allison, a big reason why he wanted to play for this team. And we should note this, Ian. It is a different ring mentality than past years. And you were on the team, what, 2012, 2013, is that right?
Exactly.
How would you characterize the change in mindset, in attitude?
I think the passion, the fire, the determination is still there from the leadership all the way down through to the players. I think from a strategic coaching perspective, I think there's a little bit more of a cerebral approach and an interest in entire team development. And those are maybe the greater differences.
There's Laviolette securing the bookends and the break. It's 5-3, Ring of Fire.
Just textbook patience in the red zone. Content to swing back and forth until the right opportunity opened. And there's J.D. Hastings, who knows all about North Carolina Ultimate, having graduated from North Carolina Chapel Hill in undergrad and gone to Wilmington for his grad program and made it to the biggest collegiate games with both schools.
The year after he graduated from UNC, knocked Dark Side out in the semifinals at Club Nationals. That was in 2017. Jack Williams was helpful in that effort as well in eliminating Dark Side last year. Mike Denardis, the coach of UNC, the coach of Ring of Fire, the coach of the Raleigh Flyers in the AUDL. A much respected presence from the Midwest.
And when I was playing on Ring, Mike was just starting to become a fixture in North Carolina Ultimate leadership, and he was more of a strategic advisor than a full-on head coach for Ring of Fire. And I think you've seen the imprint that he's made on this program with their continued success and runs to the semifinals at the U.S. Club Championships.
And you alluded to it right off the bat today about the fact that Colony is player-led, does not have a veteran set of eyes on the sideline whose sole job is to coach, tweak, make adjustments. Freistatter on Mikkel again this point, Saul on Kocher. Middle of the field for Andrews.
And this is an interesting game for John McNaughton, too. He's played a season with Ring of Fire.
Well, Richardson poached off to the open side, and Alex Shepard found the open man. Andrews in the end zone.
Well, that's the response Colony needed from their O-line. Great spacing, great patience. No 50-50 shots or low percentage looks. And a nice, easy finish into the end zone. More often than not, Alex Shepard's on the receiving end of those, using his blazing speed for some clap-catch deep goals. He's got 15 for Colony so far in the tournament.
There's been a clear difference so far, Ian, in how hard each offense has had to work to get their goals. Colony scored 4 times, twice on turnover-free offensive holds. A couple times each team turned it once. There was the one time that each team turned it twice. whereas Ring's offense has not turned the disc over yet. So the closest they came was on Nethercutt's floaty huck, where Mitchell jumped into the stratosphere. Not really sure where the stratosphere is, but I think it's where Mitchell landed. Gushohannes, like he did as a freshman at UNC, centers the disc to Nethercutt. Bob Lou, back to Gooch in the end zone.
Another zone look here from Colony. Looking to make any strings right off the pull difficult for Ring to execute, and clearly their handlers are having to be incredibly patient as they struggle to gain yardage in their own end zone.
Lou, back to Williams.
And I don't know about this decision by Nethercutt to stretch himself out all the way down the field. If there's anybody I want at the back of the end zone, it's Nethercutt and his throwing capability.
Bob Lou's throw floats over the head of Gushohannes, but a foul was called. Looked like it was fouled on the receiving end and not the throwing end.
Yeah, I think Gushohannes is claiming that there was contact initiated into his back that prevented him from going up or even making a second play on that disc. Get another look. Lucas Nichols comes in, and there is quite a bit of contact as he goes up. His arms can't extend.
The call has been retracted.
Maybe Gushohannes felt that at the same time the disc was uncatchable at a certain point. It's hard for us to say without the game advisors being mic'd up here.
Good testimony from the Colony argument to win the battle and convince Gushohannes to retract it. First turnover for the Ring O. Can Colony get one of the two breaks they've given up back? Jimmy Todhill couldn't break Lanier, but he finds Andrews in the open side. Low throw just above the blades of grass. McNaughton. And now he's in the end zone. McNaughton from Andrews. We've got ourselves a game. 5-all, first half.
So Ring struggling against Colony's zone. Quite a surprise given how much throwing experience and power there is on the Ring O-line. On this next point, I don't want to see Nethercutt clearing out into the deep lanes. I want him to stay back in the handler set, because when you're a zone defender and you know Nethercutt's there, you can't cheat under on your downfield assignments the way you would if a different handler that doesn't have the same throwing power does. Every area on the field is a threat when Nethercutt has the disc, and it just makes those zone defenders be that much more honest, and their decisions about where to cheat in and come underneath that much more costly.
Jonathan Nethercutt has talked about how the highlight of his ultimate career has been seeing players that he coached in middle school and high school develop to be college champions and now club teammates and some of his best friends. Nethercutt, just 26 years old, introduced to Ultimate initially at a summer camp. He was a very good baseball player, but he quickly transformed himself into an Ultimate star at the University of North Carolina on the U23 team that won gold in 2015, won a Beach World's gold medal last year in Royan, playing for Coach Brian Jones.
We see Colony starting to pull some of its stars over for these defensive points. Kocher on the dump, Mikkel marking Freystadter, Mark Evans.
Williams sending it. Gushohannes chased by Chulet. And Williams delivered it on the money. Ring responds after getting broken. And it's all good and well in North Carolina. You got a Wilmington guy hucking to a Chapel Hill guy in a World Championship quarterfinal. 6-5, Ring leads Colony.
If you want to be a high performer, eat like one. Start with a balanced diet and drink plenty of water. Good nutrition is one of the best ways to boost your mental and your physical health.
Eric Taylor set to launch the pull. He has perfected that corkscrew pull, spinning around and firing with the extra momentum from the middle of the end zone. Tulit centers to Mikkel. And what is this defense from Ring?
This looks like a quick transition zone. 3 people up at the front trying to clog those throwing lanes.
Looks like they're trying to trap him on the sideline. Josh Mullen, J.D. Hastings covering the handlers along with Josh Hartzog. Mullen has been on Ring and other teams for a long time.
Best captain I ever played for.
A lot of people say that. Josh, 38 years old now, started playing Ultimate in 1999, which was the last time Ring of Fire played at the World Ultimate Club Championships. They finished in 5th place in 1999. Finished 4th in 93 and 95, the first decade of the program.
And now Ring's going to transition out into man-to-man defense.
Winner of this game will take on the winner of Double Wide and Bad Skid, which is going on right now. The other semifinal is already set. San Francisco Revolver and Toronto Goat. Revolver beat Chalk from France. Goat beat Nomadic Tribe from Japan. Evans, can he get there? Oh yeah. Mark Evans runs it down, and we're tied at 6. Ring still leading by 1 break.
Well, just some classic displays of athleticism from Mikkel. At the front of the stack, he feels Hartzog putting all his body weight up against him, and it's just a quick slide off the mark, shifting away from Hartzog's weight to complete the strike cut, and an easy finish into the end zone for Mark Evans.
Second assist of the game for Mikkel. His 20th assist of the tournament. That is in fact not number 1 on Colony. Evans has thrown more goals than Jimmy has by a small handful. Leading goal scorer on the team is Pete Ely, who entering this quarterfinal game had 20 goals and no assists. Rob Andrews to launch for Colony.
Pretty traditional D-line here for Colony. None of those offensive playmakers crossing over, pulling any double duty.
Johannes receives the pull. Zone look for Nethercutt. Staring down.
He doesn't even have to pivot to get that reset off.
And it's been interesting to watch Bob Lou kind of reinvent himself. For many years, he was kind of in the Jonathan Nethercutt role for Chicago Machine, the wizard handler. And now he's more of a reset handler, sure-handed, hardly ever turns it over. He's definitely reined in his decision-making, takes fewer chances now, and just been super solid for Ring. so far this weekend and throughout the spring.
And you'll occasionally see him, obviously he threw a right-handed around flick there, but it's not uncommon to see him throw left-handed throws during the game. And we're not just talking simple 5-yard offhand backhands. He'll uncork full field lefty backhands if he feels the moment is right.
Yeah, he likes the offhand huck. You don't see too many people try. Mitchell marked by Moore. Looking for another cut, stall count rising, and he was fouled. And a little bit of a bailout foul there with Mitchell running out of time.
Yeah, Gavin Moore's got to be kicking himself. As that count rises, you just got to take an extra step off so that there's no opportunity to pivot for that easy foul.
Lanier to Williams. Angled cut to the sideline, and Helton was fouled from behind by Andrews. Doesn't appear there's much argument from the Australian. If you joined us late, Ring with back-to-back breaks, led 5-3. Leading by 1 break now, and Helton drops the dime to the end zone. Terrence Mitchell, the easy clap catch. And Ring converts again with clean offense. Goose Helton, I'm not sure I've ever seen him play better than he has this spring for the Flyers, and now carrying that over with Ring. He's 34 years old. But Mike DeNardis will tell you he trains as much as anybody in the ultimate world, trying to put some of those training skills into a business model to help broaden the scope of ultimate training worldwide. Just started his new company, Game Point Performance. And it's just amazing. You think he would start to look like he's in his mid-30s, but there's no sign of it. He looks more like he's in his mid-20s.
Well, that's a testament to his discipline off the field. And just to get back to that goal in particular, it's not that often that a stop disc stationary huck into a crosswind is the top option and is executed with precision and accuracy, but Helton really defying the odds there.
Goose's wife, Kayla, in action right now with San Francisco Fury on an adjacent field. Fury Brute Squad, an unbelievable quarterfinal matchup in the women's division. We've got a great matchup here as well. Mikkel sending it deep. Evans going for it. Noah Saul trailing. Back corner of the end zone. Evans makes the catch. How does Mikkel throw it from one corner of the field to the other and land it perfectly hovering in the back corner of the end zone? How does he do it?
Goodness gracious, just technique, power, vision, all of the above on display. And to be honest, Mikkel loves those outside in backhands around the stack, across the field. More difficult for less powerful throwers. But talk about you almost liken it to a coffin corner punt.
Yep. I mean, this throw was launched from just a couple yards in front of the end zone, and look where he catches it. I mean, he lands, close to landing out of bounds.
That's an 85-yard backhand.
And for Jimmy, always looks like he just got out of bed. Just another toss with his buddy. So 7-all. If Colony could break to take half, we'd be back on serve. Ring will receive to start the second half, so Ring has a chance to receive 2 points in a row here if they can convert.
It looks like we had a timeout called on the field. I like this call, especially if it was Colony's decision. Give those Stars a second to rest up. Put your top 7 out there because you need this break to get things back on serve.
Evans walking to the sideline. He scored the last 2 goals for the Colony offense. But you see it's 7-7. Jimmy Mikkel and Chris Kocher both staying on the field. Mikkel, one of the many stars on Team USA that won the World Ultimate Guts Championships over Japan 2 years ago in London. Won the World Games last year in Poland. Jimmy Mikkel was the leading scorer for that USA World Games team with 14 combined scores in the co-ed tournament. 10 goals, 4 assists. Chris Kocher added 11 scores, tied for 4th on the team. Behind Mikkel, Grant Lindsley, Dylan Freechild. He was tied with Georgia Bosher, who led the female contingent in scoring for Alex Gesquier and Maddie Sang. They were, of course, tested by the Colombian team led by Mauricio Moore, and Mauricio's Colombian delegation, particularly the females, incredibly impressive again. There's a hanging question over this tournament, like most World Tournament. Will USA sweep? And I think the world's best chance to prevent a USA sweep, Columbia Revolution. Well, the Toronto Goat might have something to say about that too. Can Ring take it to half? Lanier. Look at Williams just accelerate up the line. He had 2 players, Helton and Fisher, both going deep, so now he takes the 30-yard under, and Helton fires long. Gusho Hannes caught one earlier, and in the back of the end zone, he hauls in another. And it looked like Colony was going to get the D. 8-7 Ring. Somehow, Gusho Hannes came up with this.
Well, Goose Helton really feeling himself along that sideline. Dan Petrov so close to earning that block. I don't think that's the 100% shot the Ring offense is looking for. But they're still up 1 break thanks to the heroics of Matt Gusho Hannes. 8-7, Ring of Fire into the half.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome,
regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
And even defy gravity.
a place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
Welcome back to the Lebanon Sports Complex here at the World Ultimate Club Championships, the 11th edition of this event that was first held in 1989. USA swept it that year. It was held in Cologne, Germany. Fillmore won in the open division. The Lady Condors took the women's title. Since then, the World Ultimate Club Championships have been in Toronto, Madison, the United Kingdom, Vancouver, Scotland, Honolulu, Perth, Prague, Lecco. And in 2018, we've reached the quarterfinal round. Ring of Fire by a break at the half, leading 8-7. Terrence Mitchell, using his incredible athleticism, unable to hang on to the disc. So not a great highlight because, well, he dropped it. He was fouled. Could have been a poster if he had held onto it. Might still be a poster. Saul Yannick, good boxing out in the end zone for Ring. Colony was a little loose at the start of this game. Alan Laviolette just joined the team barely a month ago. Had bookends. to make the score 5-3. And then this dime from Mikkel. Evans running it down about 85 yards from his departure. Goose Helton, one of his 2 assists in the half. 8-7 Ring leads Colony at the break. Second half action coming up from Ohio.
My name is Eileen Murray, and I am here volunteering as one of the leads for the Spirit of the Game group. The athletes all have this shared value system that they are playing under and striving for. The Spirit of the Game really creates this really great atmosphere of camaraderie. It's super important to the international community, especially going forward in these events. And so we've come on board to try to just help, explain, just watch, make sure people are doing well. And so helping people understand how do you really give people feedback that helps them as a team grow and learn how to incorporate Spirit of the Game in effective ways. After every game, there are always spirit circles where both teams come together, they go every other player, and they talk about the things that happen in the game, and then typically what happens after is they exchange gifts that are unique to their either city or country, also increase the camaraderie as an international ultimate community. So the game advisors are just here to help the athletes interpreting the rules, or if there's a particular question about anything that happens, it's really nice to have the objective person out there who you can confer with and ask, and really helpful to have them because it keeps the games going. The conversations have to stop, you have to make your point, and then you have to move on. People are being really respectful and working really hard at trying to make sure that disputes are taken care of very quickly and respectfully. Our use of the game advisors along with the player self-officiation is something that makes this sport super unique and really fun to play and watch.
Evan Lepler alongside Ian Toner back with you. Ring of Fire leading Colony 8-7. There's definitely a stretch in this first half, Ian, where Colony was in danger of losing attachment with this Ring team. It was 5-3, back-to-back breaks. Colony didn't have too many clean offensive holds. Since then, since it was 5-3, Colony's offense hasn't turned it over. In fact, the final 5 points of the half, turnover free.
Well, I think their offense kind of settled into the rhythm. They relieved some of the pressure that they were feeling earlier on in this game, and just some familiarity with all of the different looks that Ring had been seeing. There's only so many they have in their pocketbook. I think the Colony offense has been doing a good job of adapting to what's been given to them, especially in the second part of that first half. And as we look ahead to the second half, my biggest question is what kind of legs do Mikkel, Kocher, Evans have left? Because in order to get these breaks that they need to take the lead, those guys are going to have to start pulling more double duty than they did in the first half.
Ring's going to receive. Dylan Lanier, Jonathan Nethercutt, Jack Williams, Henry Fisher, Goose Helton, Bob Liu, and Matt Goose-Johannes walking to the line. Raleigh in their first 7 games of this tournament outscored their opponents 105-58. They had a closer than expected game against Is No Good from France, which is one of the more bizarre team names we have at the World Championships. IZNOGOOD, one word, Is No Good. They beat Austria's forward 15-7, 15-6 over Ireland's Ranelagh, 15-5 over Germany's Family, 15-11 over Clapham and crossover, 15-12 over Cusp. That was power pool play wins over Clapham and Cusp. And then the 15-6 victory over Euphoria from Bogota, Colombia. Jimmy Mikkel gets the second half started. Just got word double wide and bad skid, 8-7 double wide at the half. Holger Voitzenmuller was unbelievable against Clapham yesterday, widely considered now the best player in Europe. Have to imagine he is prominently involved, along with some guys that have played for Germany and played for American teams like Christoph Koble.
Nico Mueller putting on a heroic throwing performance. Both Liam Grant and I were marveling at his motor and legs. Tracking so much mileage early on in this tournament. Not a whole lot of depth on an already small Bad Squid roster.
After the offsides, Guus Johannes ready to receive the pull and the give to Nethercutt.
Once again, zone look.
Much easier play for Nethercutt, slicing through it to Fisher. Williams on the sideline, sacrifices yardage on the reset. Look at this hammer, deep, caught. Fisher takes the timeout, he was all alone. Gavin Moore inches away on the bid. Nethercutt drops the hammer.
Well, you could tell he was sizing that one up for a few seconds before he released it. Moore not really able to make the play, and Fisher not having to use his size there. It was just more about positioning and spacing and being in the right space at the right time.
Not an easy catch. Catching it like a football in the breadbasket.
And sometimes those catches where defenders are incredibly close but don't get a finger on it can be just as difficult as deflection grabs, because you're anticipating a slight change of direction. You don't know how greatly the disc is going to wobble or redirect. Just like they say in football, that's why you do the tip drill in practice.
So Fisher has it on the goal line. Ring has been very successful isolating Jack Williams in spaces, and that's what it looks like they're going to do here. There are 4 Ring players near the middle of the field. Williams is all alone on the right side, and Nethercutt.
Colony taking their time to pick those matchups and talk about what to expect.
Nichols is on Williams. Chulett is going to guard Nethercutt in the dump space. But Chulett looks like he wants to poach a little bit, which is dangerous. Williams clears away, and it's Guus Johannes, who is basically uncovered. And a floaty throw with the left hand that Henry Fisher just threw for the score. Those two guys, Fisher and Guus Johannes, have had huge weeks statistically. Guus with his 3rd goal of the quarters.
Definitely an argument for a double team there before the release, but we talked about Fisher's size not necessarily figuring into the hammer grab, but his stature making that offhand backhand release point so high that it's really easy for it to just go over that impromptu cup.
Noah Saul preparing to pull. Saul was part of 3 state championships, 1 Eastern National High School Championship in high school at Pennsbury. Matt Bode, another Ring Pennsbury alum. And it wasn't a golden career for Noah Saul at North Carolina. They had some growing pains, dealing with some injuries, some inexperience. They didn't even make regionals a couple times. It was Nethercutt's freshman year they didn't make regionals.
Yeah, amazing how that program turned around.
Evans wanting Mikkel. Yes, in stride. And it's Kratella tumbling over Freistadter. The 2 defenders, neither could get to the D.
Well, Mikkel wheeling and dealing in the first half, serving up several assists, now getting on the scoreboard with his first goal of this game. And I think that's where Mikkel is clearly going to win the matchup against Freistadter, when he's got to use his straight line speed to go deep. Freistadter obviously on his back hip, but pretty rarely will Jimmy get chased down.
I was chatting with Chris Kocher yesterday on the sidelines. Obviously, Mikkel's great friend and teammate on Colony. And he talked about how early in games, it makes sense for Mikkel to do more handling because he has such a calming presence on the field and he will often make the right decisions. I think late in games is when his athleticism and speed and craftiness as a cutter can really hurt the opponent too.
And it's his endurance, right? Because he spent that whole first half hanging out in the handler set, churning out those little yardage plays, but once he's got the legs to open up that full field sprint or those deep looks, tough to match up.
Nethercutt launches long, he's looking for Mitchell. Moore trailing defensively, back of the end zone. Mitchell keeps it in bounds and makes the catch. Second time that we've seen Nethercutt to Mitchell.
Well, an easier grab for Mitchell this time around, but the Colony defense can't be happy with that point. That's a 2-throw goal. Mitchell pretty much uncontested. Not sure if there was any confusion about the force. It looks like McNaughton is very clearly forcing backhand, and Mitchell, at the end of the day, he's just beating Gavin Moore to the house.
Terrence Mitchell obviously had an emotional U20 experience, one of the stars of that USA junior team, and he talked about how after the finals, one of the guys on one of the Russians team wanted to trade jerseys. He was reconsidering because he didn't really want to give up his USA jersey. It meant so much to that experience. Instead of giving his jersey, the Russian player took off his hoodie, his jersey, and his shorts to trade for just the jersey. And Terrence said he never even got the guy's name, but he will never forget that moment when the guy basically derobed to get the USA jersey.
Those USA jerseys, pretty valuable on trade nights.
Daring throw. Perfect, though, from Chulit. Ely resets for Kocher. Hartzog on the mark. Hastings making it difficult for Chulit to get the disc back. And now it's Denyer who scoobers it to Mikkel with Allen defending. Justin Allen's had some big moments in big games. Thinking back to the semifinals against Boston Ironside, Club Nationals 2014, when he almost single-handedly brought Ring back into the game. Of course, Jimmy Mikkel has fond memories of 2014 too, when he won the college title, the club title, and the Callahan all in 1 year. Mikkel. Allen didn't really fall for the shimmy that time, Ian. And there was contact and a lot of it. And Hartzog shaken up as much as anyone.
Yeah, Allen's seen Mikkel set that throw, that around flick, no pivot up once or twice before, not really responding to the shimmy fake.
Hartzog's going to take a sub. Josh turned 29 in March. He's a high school football player. Actually played on the offensive line, but was undersized. Discovered Ultimate. And now he both teaches and coaches for the girls team at East Chapel Hill High School. Oh, goodness. You never see that. Chris Kocher drops the clean clap catch. That's the first turnover since the score was 5-all. Allen wants it all. Eric Taylor, back of the end zone, dropped it. One mistake deserves another, my goodness.
Well, that disc was taking a non-traditional flight path, coming back in over his left shoulder. An outside in angle where he runs underneath the curvature of the flight path, but I think Taylor will be the first to acknowledge, as we saw with that pat on the chest, he's got to come down with it. Hindsight's 20/20, but I think he could have clap caught it and still stayed in bounds.
He was all alone. Chulet with Hastings defending. Over to Mikkel.
You saw him eyeing up the scuba to Shepard about 40 yards down, but Taylor lurking prevented him from pulling the trigger.
And this junky defense involves a lot of switching, trying to trap the sideline, but across midfield go Colony. 10-year to Chulet. Mikkel. Shepard. Physical battle bit there with Hastings and Kocher, but Mikkel goes to Evans. 10-9.
Well, Colony dodge a bullet there. Ring of fire on the doorstep of another break. But the offense stands strong. More second half action after the break.
Do you want to avoid overuse injuries? Cross-train. Get your exercise routine out of a routine and mix it up with a variety of activities. Your muscles, tendons, and joints will thank you later.
Getting ready for the 20th point of this quarterfinal game. Winner of this one takes on the winner of Double Wide and Bad Skid. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Both men's semifinals. We already know we'll be seeing Revolver and Goat go head-to-head. Bob Lou. Nethercutt beginning this point downfield. With Williams, Gusho, Hannes, Lanier, Fisher, and Helton. Nethercutt thought about the deep shot. He had Williams going, but Fisher was kind of in the way of the throwing lane. And that laser off Helton's hand. Colony could tie this thing up. That's just the second turn of the game for the Ring offense.
And you could see Nethercutt frustrated with how his downfield options were, or should I say weren't, developing.
McNaughton hammers. near the goal line. Matas to Andrews. He's got no dump right now. Everything downfield. He swings it to the man coming from the cut of the front of the stack, and Matas into the end zone. Colony has evened the score at 10. The Aussies were shaky early, but they kept within a close enough striking distance that by taking advantage of this ring mistake, we now play a game to 5.
And let's take note of this break here. Mikkel, Kocher, Tulit, Evans, not involved in forcing the turnover or guiding that break into the end zone. Huge confidence booster for this Colony D-line offense.
We are back on serve. Colony, of course, going to have to break once to win. Gavin Moore catching that goal. These are two teams, Ian, that you have to believe a quarterfinals loss would be crushing to either one. Both these teams come into this tournament believing strongly that they can win it all. To not make the Final Four, hard to deal with that pain, especially when you got to play a game to try to be in the 5th, 6th place game pretty soon too.
And especially when I know these players aren't looking ahead just yet, but when you know that Revolver is not on your side of the bracket and that you don't have to face the top-seeded juggernaut until the final, what an opportunity for everyone on this side of the bracket.
Toronto Goat gets the honor of handling San Francisco Revolver in the semifinals. Nethercutt bluffs it. Williams downfield for Laviolette. Freystadter made the cut. Jack Williams going every other here. And now Nethercutt. Laviolette. The quickness with which these ring handlers begin their cuts after releasing their throws, so difficult to defend. Laviolette to Freystadter to punctuate the point, and Ring clinging to a 1-goal lead.
An exercise in patience on that point from Jonathan Nethercutt in the Ring of Fire handlers. We saw him pump 1 or 2 deep shots. Laviolette had at least 10 yards on Mikkel, and I think that was by Mikkel's design. I think he was baiting a deep shot. But all the way down the pitch, Nethercutt settling for those soft, high-percentage breaks that in reality are more valuable than a gut-busting hammer.
Can Colony respond against the Ring defense? Wonder what the matchups will be here in. The defense for Ring has Freystadter out there with Saul, Bode, Yannick, Hunter Taylor, whose name we haven't called out yet, but he's always good for a highlight or 2 per game. Andrew McKelvey and Jacob Fairfax also racing down the field. And it's Mikkel at the other end, met by Saul. Both of them, Noah and Yannick.
And a transition junk right off the bat just to stop that Vertstack's pull play.
Yannick's now chasing Garfield down the field. Evans flings it for Shepard with Fairfax there. To Evans. Ask folks on Ring, they say Andrew McKelvey, who is defending Evans, might be the fastest guy on the team in terms of pure speed. And now they switch. McKelvey on Kocher and a pick downfield. Mikkel will keep it.
And it looks like after starting with that junky defense, obviously Ring has settled into a man-to-man matchup, but their marks are forcing the disc up to the middle of the field. They want to funnel those throws into traffic close to the stack.
Little Jimmy shimmy. And the throw downfield caught by Evans, but it's coming back. Here's Noah Saul signaling the stall coming back in at 4 or 5. Reset for Kocher. 11-10, Ring leads Colony. Men's quarterfinal action at the World Ultimate Club Championships. Evan Lepler and Ian Toner, thrilled to be with you from the Lebanon Sports Complex. Jimmy Mikkel and Chris Kocher, 2 American imports, trying to will this Australian group that is admittedly quite talented on their own, trying to push them over the top against one of the powerhouse American programs. Trulitt taps it back in. This is Evans. Mikkel challenged by Saul, but catches the reset and then fires the score. And Alex Shepard has gotten open all tournament long for this Colony team in the end zone.
Hard to believe he's attacking that front cone without greater pressure. Just a simple 4-side cut. We know his defender, Jacob Fairfax, has speed and power to use his body to protect that cone. Shepard's been tough for defenders to deal with all tournament long.
Well, that ties it at 11. And there have been 4 breaks in the game, 2 per side. Each team has turned it over 6 times in 22 points. Alex Shepard, the 25-year-old from Sydney, catching the goal. Colony won their national title last year, beating Brisbane Mammoth 15-13. And by last year, I mean this year. Aussie Nationals this past April. And they showed their mettle through a tour of exhibition victories warming up for this tournament. Colony had wins over Pride of New York, Pony, 13-10. Beat DC Truck Stop on Universe Point. They beat Pittsburgh Temper. And Ring of Fire is a tougher task, but you have to think those games help to warm them up. Colony had some bumps in the road this week. Slow first half. They fell behind 7-4 against Choc from France. Weren't able to get a single break against Toronto Goat all game long. Here's Helton shooting it deep. Gusho Hannes isn't going to get to this one. Andrews intercepts for Colony.
And Andrews was not marking Gusho Hannes as that throw went up. He peeled off his assignment. Just mixed execution on Helton's part.
Mitchell bids, but unsuccessfully. Gavin Moore over to McNaughton. Jimmy Toddhill. Deep shot, launched. Australian Ultimate shooting itself in the foot. They were moving the disc pleasantly upfield.
I would have loved to see some more patience there from Reese Stewart. Don't know how many more times this Colony D-line offense is actually going to get to touch the disc in this game.
Gusho Hannes, and there's a stoppage. Nethercutt fires. Liam Searles bows, just 19 years old. Been playing Ultimate since he was in 6th grade.
Be pretty cool to make a line of all the young stars gracing the fields this weekend. DeLuca from Bologna, Liam Searles bows from Ring.
Sidelines for Colony shouting to keep working, keep grinding. Williams to Nethercutt. No one made the initial cut to the open side for Nethercutt, so he finds Williams and just keeps working with him. Changes the point of attack. You have to figure they could just keep working the two of them together into the end zone. And there was a foul. Call was made before Williams released the disc to Nethercutt. But not involved in that throw, so it appears Nethercutt's going to maintain possession. Nope, going back to Williams. At 11-all, tense moments. Mitchell, a wobbly throw, but Nethercutt punches it in. And Ring retakes a 1-goal lead. Remember that moment, Ian Reese Stewart and Colony had the disc with a chance to take their first lead since it was very early. They led 2-1 and 3-2 before Ring seized the advantage. But Mitchell again from Nethercutt, and it's 12-11.
Jack Williams and Jonathan Nethercutt just putting on a small ball clinic, eating up those valuable yardage in the red zone. So difficult to defend, especially when you're constantly switching your mark, rolling off assignments. The force is shifting as you change. I can't think of another duo that's here competing at this tournament that I'd be more afraid of in a 2-on-2 matchup than Nethercutt and Williams. Maybe Ashlyn Joy and Simon Higgins.
I feel like you could pick two names out of a hat on Revolver and create a pretty dynamic duo, but yes, Ashlyn and Simon may be the most formidable pair of that team. Feels like a critical low point here for Colony. Chulet, crossfield hammer, gets past Richardson, and now wide open deep shot looking for Shepard, and he's going to have the easy clap catch in the end zone. Richardson sold out for that bid, and by coming up short and shy of the disc, it's an easy Colony strike.
Well, that's the gamble when you run these zone defenses, right? If you're going to sell out on one underneath shot or one wide shot, you're going to be leaving something else open. And I don't fault Richardson for attacking that disc. He had a shot at it. Those are the looks you're trying to generate, you're trying to scare the offense with. But when Mark Evans has no mark, it's going to be an easy finish for him every single time.
Jimmy Mikkel with a disc in his hands. Jimmy's older brother played Ultimate when he was a high school senior. Jimmy was in 8th grade. One of the ways Jimmy got exposed to the sport, he played soccer growing up. Didn't take him long to realize that he had a gift for Ultimate. And the thing that stands out about Jimmy is how well liked he is by everybody, his teammates, his opponents. Called him the Golden Boy, and it's kind of a double meaning because he is beloved like the Golden Child. He's also from Golden, Colorado.
Well, I think he recognizes and is grateful for all the opportunities the Ultimate community has given him and that he's earned through his play and character.
Goose Helton had a couple successful hucks and then threw a turnover here in the second half that allowed Colony to get this game back on serve. That throw is taken by Moore. Colony's last lead was at 3-2. 20 points later, trying to regain the advantage again.
And honestly, that looked like a routine swing, but Tulet's ability to step out, get that up there into the crosswind, Mikkel's ability to attack at the apex, underrated for preserving possession there.
Kocher, Tulet, leaping in the end zone for Colony. The Aussies are in front, 13-12. With a bid to the semifinals at stake. Kocher to Tulet. Colony can taste it. Rings backs against the wall.
Heat illness strikes kids and adults alike during summer workouts. Watch for muscle cramps, fever, nausea, headache, weakness, or feeling faint. Act fast to get cool and get fluids.
Australia's Colony has taken a 13-12 lead. It's a game to 15. Austin double wide, awaiting the winner. Double wide, 15-9 over Germany's Bad Skid. After such a shaky start, Ian Toner, Colony, who had 5 turnovers in the first 8 points of the game, has only had 2 turnovers since over the last 17 points.
Well, I'll be the first to admit it. I undersold the capability of their traditional D-line offense. Their ability to punch in some of those breaks without their stars on the field, surprising me, and one of the main reasons they have this late lead.
Oh, nearly a bidding deflection from McNaughton, guarding Nethercutt in the end zone.
Casual switching downfield. That's how experienced these players are. They can pass defenders off, receivers off to one another with a simple look of the eye.
Nethercutt fires deep. Gusho Hannes trying to milk it to the end zone, but he'll take one more throw to Mitchell. And Nethercutt was patient for a time and then saw the space downfield and let her rip.
Well, once again, I'd love to see Nethercutt staying back in that handler set, especially when the pressure is mounting in your own quarter of the field, especially in your own end zone. Earlier in the game, there were 1 or 2 points where he got out of that handler set and started to stretch downfield. And Nethercutt's a great receiver in his own right, but as we've talked about at length, you need him back there behind the disc to keep those defenders honest and stretch the offensive field and capability and depth for your own offense.
There is no overtime, Ian, in the whiff-diff game, so we have 2 or 3 points left in this quarterfinal. It's a game to 2. And how many times in practice have you played games to 2, games to 3?
End of a 4-hour practice. You've been going at it in the sun. All right, boys, last thing before lunch, game to 2.
And you're playing against your teammates, so it's a different flavor entirely. But here these two programs, both determined to win a world championship, need this win to have any chance at getting a medal. Noah Saul with his winding pull, and it's a good one. Chulet. To Shepard. Allen's on Shepard, Yannick's on Chulet. Laviolette chasing Kocher. Downfield, you've got Saul on Mikkel, and Mikkel's going deep, and they didn't have him. Mikkel biding his time in the middle of the field right now. You see the 23 shirt just jogging, getting ready to hit the turbo boosters. Kocher finds Chulet wide open. Cisco on the mark. If Colony can stay cool, calm, and collected on this and one more offensive point, they will be moving on to the semifinals. Sneaking it past Saul, Mikkel, about 15 yards from the end zone, and we have a stoppage. Stoppage should allow more and more fans to gradually realize what is happening on the showcase field and create an atmosphere for the climax. Mikkel to Kocher. So tough to guard in those small spaces. Evans wasn't open, so the swing goes to Mikkel. And the throw into the end zone connects. 14-13 Colony as Mikkel finds Denyer.
I'll be honest, I was surprised by the lack of pressure from the Ring defensive assignments on that point. So many easy unders and quick strike cuts as they moved all the way up the pitch. That defense didn't really lock in until the final third, final quarter, once they were in their own red zone, and Colony's been quite patient and successful there. You know Mikkel's capable of hitting that around flick 9 times out of 10.
Weight of the world is now on this Ring O-line to convert and take us to double game point. It still has been a very clean game for both of these teams. In the first half, Ring had 4 turns, Colony had 5. In the second half, Ring has had 4 turns, Colony has had just 2.
And some of those Ring turnovers have been just completely unforced, right? You saw that Nethercutt swing to Gusho-Hannes just popping up.
Andrews with a pull. Ring has Gusho-Hannes, Williams, Nethercutt, Lanier. Searles, Bose, Helton, and Fisher, and the shot goes up looking for Fisher. Near the pylon on the sideline. Fisher, was he inbounds? They're looking for help. Ring is saying, why not? We'll count it.
Mark Wee, one of the Colony defenders, seemed to suggest he was in, and they're pointing to the video board. They want to see the replay themselves.
And they'll get their wish, as will we. Fisher.
That's a goal. He's got the disc in his hand with his left toe on the turf.
And they're still discussing it. Jack Williams is pointing at the board, saying that's what we saw. We can stop it right there. Is he dragging his foot? I think he is.
Yeah, his toes down. That's unquestionably a goal. I don't understand why this conversation's taking so long.
This would tie it at 14 all and create universe point. Andrews seems to be saying, send it back.
I cannot understand the argument that he's making.
I'll take another look. Game advisor has blown 3 whistles about 10 times. And finally, the argument subsides, and they have ruled it a goal, and we are at 14 all in this quarterfinal classic.
Well, that's the closest the World Ultimate and Club Championships are going to get to VAR in 2018. Am I right?
Thankfully, we've got these screens, Jumbotron-esque, at the 2 showcase fields. And it all comes down to this. We're going to see the universe point lines for both teams. One more look at Fisher from this reverse angle. Nethercutt just letting it fly. Nethercutt's on the field here. Eric Taylor, Noah Saul, Jack Williams, Jonathan Nethercutt, Matt Gushohannes, Alan Laviolette, and Hunter Taylor is the 7-man D-line for Ring. Colony with Evans, Mikkel, Tulit, Kocher, McNaughton. Believe Andrews.
And Shepard.
One point to stay alive for a gold medal.
And the wind picking up here on this double game point. Crosswind rearing its head a little more than it has earlier on, pushing that pull far out of bounds.
It's a fascinating D-line here for Raleigh. Eric Taylor, Matt Gushohannes, both playing college ultimate this spring.
No poaches to start here, just straight on, hard nose, man-to-man finish.
Nethercutt and Mikkel side by side. Saul's on Chulit. Gushohannes on Kocher. Laviolette has picked up Gavin Moore. Williams on Evans. Kocher. Low throw, Mikkel keeps it alive. To Chulit. Nethercutt and Mikkel, 2 of the top American players, both in their prime.
They both got a smile on their face as they're talking this one out. And you hear the Goat Boys crowded under the Colony tent. We know who they're rooting for in this one.
Mikkel floats it up there, Chulit near the sideline. And a pick downfield. And I think Chulit takes a timeout. Gives us a chance to catch our breaths, the players as well. 14 all. Whoever scores next faces double wide in the semifinals. Keeps their gold medal dreams alive. The loser relegated to at best 5th place. Well, it's become a tradition for Ring players to boo themselves. So they're booing, and now the Colony players have also started booing because booing is contagious, Ian, if you didn't know.
It's what all the cool kids are doing these days, I guess.
Even if you don't know why you're booing. Wonder if any of the matchups will switch here. Interesting, Mikkel starting the back of the stack. Nethercutt and Mikkel just shook hands back there. Only one of them is going to get what they really want, which is a chance to move on into the Final Four. Kocher, the reset. You have to think Trulett's American experience invaluable in this type of pressure situation. Yes, he's played on the international stage representing Australia, but coming and playing in the US Open and the Pro Flight finale and the USAU Club Nationals. Trulett instrumental to the Colony attack. Downfield to Shepard, beating Taylor to the space. Colony closing in up the line. Mikkel on the doorstep, on the goal line, and into the end zone. Colony has taken down Ring of Fire. 15-14, Sydney prevails. And they will face double wide tomorrow for a spot in the final.
And with this win, you got to start wondering, is the world's hope at preventing an American sweep lying with more than just Revolution? Does this Colony team have the mettle to battle on to the final and test Revolver?
Pure happiness from Jimmy Mikkel. This is exactly what he had in mind when he made the commitment to join this Colony team. Mikkel and Kocher, the American add-ons, and they will face double wide tomorrow. Nice moment, McNaughton and Matsuko, who spent a lot of time in Australia, sharing a hug in this handshake line. A spirited game in Colony turns it over just twice in the second half. Only 2 turnovers in the final 20 points of the game for Sydney's Colony. And it's Ring relegated to the 5th place bracket. Colony moving on. Your final thoughts to this quarterfinal classic?
I saw something I haven't seen out of this Colony squad yet. Their D-line offense giving me hope and faith. Their O-line remaining calm under pressure. Double wide's going to have their hands full tomorrow.
Colony unbroken in the second half. One too many mistakes from Ring of Fire. Ring turned it 8 times, Colony 7 times. And the one little mistake was the difference. Colony has taken down Ring in the quarterfinals. Wow, for Ian Toner, Evan Lepler, a privilege to have the call at the World Championships. Colony and double wide tomorrow. Great ultimate all week long here in Southern Ohio. Thanks for watching.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.